We are on page 55, and we are going to talk about absolute values of rational numbers. You can also find the absolute value of a rational number the same way you found the absolute value of an integer. The absolute value of a rational number is the number's distance from 0 on the number line. So here's the deal. We're looking for distances. We're not looking for signs, we're looking for distances. And a lot of kids get messed up when we're comparing absolute values and opposites, because sometimes they're the same thing, but sometimes they're not. So pay close attention to this definition. We're looking for the distance from 0 on the number line. All right, check it out. Example 2. The table shows the average low temperatures in January in one location during a 5-year span. Find the absolute value of the average January low temperature in 2009. So here's the information we're looking at, and the average low temperature is negative 5.4. So I want to point out to you why the answer is not negative 5.4. Look down here at the bottom. The answer is 5.4. Because we're talking about a distance. What you do to figure out an absolute value is you start at 0 and you count. You are counting. Count spaces from 0. So count the spaces. So to get down to that negative, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we know this one's 0.4. So the distance from 0 that negative 5.4 is, it is 5.4 spaces. And 5.4 spaces is a positive term. So I want you to notice that this is a positive number. Mr. Smith, how could the absolute value of a negative number be positive? Because absolute value means how far is it from 0. So whenever you see absolute value, think how far is it from 0. Don't think if it's positive or negative. Think how far it is. All right, let's check out the reflect. Reflect, number 3. Reads, communicate mathematical ideas. What is the absolute value of the average low temperature in 2011, and how do you know? So we're going to go up to 2011. It's right here, and it's 3.8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think spaces. I'm going to count. To get up to 3.8, you go 1, 2, 3.8. That is 3.8 spaces. So the absolute value of 3.8 is 3.8. It is 3.8 spaces from 0. And that's going to be my answer, and I'll type it in here. In fact, I'm going to move it up just a little bit more first, and then I'll be able to see the your turn at the bottom. Well, not really. Okay, no big deal. What is the absolute value of the average January low temperature in 2011? 3.8, because, it says how do you know? Because 3.8 is 3.8 spaces from 0 on the number line. So if you want to draw a conclusion from this, absolute values are always going to be positive because distances are always positive. All right, let's check out the your turn. You could try these. These are pretty simple. You could try these first and then check your answers. Graph each number on the number line, then use your number line to find each absolute value. So if you're looking at these and thinking, what does all this mean? The first number right here, you're supposed to graph. Negative 4.5. So this will help us practice. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and then 0.5 means a half. So I go halfway. There's negative 4.5. Now the second thing, these lines right here mean, what is the absolute value of negative 4.5? In other words, how far is it from 0? 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So it is 4.5 spaces from 0. So the absolute value of negative 4.5 is 4.5. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with all the other ones too, but I need to clear my number line. All right, number 5, 1.5. Here's 0, here's 1, there's a half right there. There's 1.5. So I graphed it. Now I'm going to figure out its distance from 0. 0, 1.5. It is 1.5 spaces from 0. Notice the absolute values so far are always positive. It's because distances are always positive. Number 6 is 4. 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes right here. And I already counted the spaces. 4 is 4 spaces from 0. So the absolute value of 4 is 4. And the last one. Negative 3 1/4. This will be the hardest one to graph, but I'm going to help you. Negative 3 1/4 goes to the left. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Now I've got to do a fourth. That's a fourth of the way over, so that's just a little ways. That's negative 3 1/4. And how many spaces is that from 0? It's 1, 2, 3 spaces and a fourth. So it's 3 1/4 spaces from 0. All right, if you're still having trouble with those, if you're getting those wrong, please fix those and then let me know if you need a little bit of extra instruction.